When I joined the Army, it wasn't out of patriotism, bravery, or a need to serve my country. I was broke and needed out of my small town and away from my parents and siblings struggling with addiction. I wanted to make something of myself, and sometimes they will even sometimes pay for college. I saw it as a stepping stone to a career, so I never had to struggle like we did growing up. When your parents would rather buy heroin to avoid dope sickness than food or use money to pay the bills, you just never want to struggle again. I signed my papers, and due to a sudden conflict in another country, I was deployed to a giant sandbox. The sun was hotter, the bugs were bigger. There was a threat of possible death daily, but I was still happier with my platoon than I ever had been at home. These were the people I truly considered my siblings, not the junkies I left in the middle of nowhere. One night we got a huge surprise milkshakes and a comedy performance by a well-known name. I thought it was amazing the Army was considerate enough to consider our feelings and think maybe we could use a little pick-me-up. We all drank our milkshakes smiling. The comedy performance ended and I started to feel strange, woozy, but my heart was racing and I was extremely alert. I heard my friend say something about feeling along the same lines and then looked around and realized there were enemies surrounding me. The platoon and I had to fight tooth and nail if we were going to get out of this. I lost myself in the fight and assumed from all the commotion around me so did my comrades. Then I was hit. I felt the warm blood start to spill from the stab wounds to the stomach I just received. The woozy feeling returned due to loss of blood. As I struggled to hold on for life, I looked around me and realized I was surrounded by my siblings from my surrogate family. Weakly, I tried to lift my head to take in what was happening, how they defeated us all. I was floating in and out of consciousness and knew if the bleeding wasn't stopped soon, I would be dead. I saw two people in camo with medical equipment rushing towards us and took a breath of relief. The medics. They were finally here to save us. As I attempted to muster the strength to show I was still alive and needed attention, they began talking. Report. New toxin distributed to soldiers works and does make those who ingest it more violent, aggressive, and accurate. We'll need to tweak as the entire test group killed each other as opposed to intended targets. Need to figure out how to solve this before distributing to all military branches. Test successful.
The old gentleman gazed out into the hollow halls of what used to be the base of his command, reminiscing about days when it was filled with the shouts of orders, the laughter of comrades, and the grunts of men pushing themselves to their limits to surpass what they could do and be all that they could be. His footsteps were silent as he walked down the halls, remembering those days, with the words of General MacArthur echoing in his mind.
Old soldiers don't die, they fade away.
Staring at the portraits of past generals who once commanded the base, the man shook his head, laughing at himself. MacArthur may have been a great general and leader, but with that one quote, he was wrong. Their legacy of their command would ensure that their memories lasted. Though long gone they may be, what they achieved in molding men would endure through the generations, protecting this country he held so dear to his heart. As he reached his own portrait, seeing himself as he looked in life, he faded away into the night. Yet the memories of his life would never fade into oblivion, just as the men he led would carry on what they had done, passing it on to future generations, never to be forgotten, never to fade away. In the dim light cast by a lone flickering bulb, he wandered deeper into the labyrinth of memories, each corridor holding secrets of battles fought and won, sacrifices made, and bonds forged in the crucible of war. The walls whispered stories of valor and camaraderie, of victories celebrated and losses mourned. It was a place frozen in time, where the echoes of the past reverberated with a haunting melody. He paused before a rusted door, its hinges creaking in protest as he pushed it open. Inside lay the heart of the base, the command center where plans were drawn and destinies shaped. The room was barren now, stripped of its former glory, but to him, it still held the echoes of strategy meetings and the tension before battle. A flicker of movement caught his eye, and he turned to see a shadowy figure standing in the corner, its features obscured by darkness. For a moment, he hesitated, unsure whether it was a trick of the light or a specter from the past. But as he approached, the figure materialized into the form of a young soldier, his uniform crisp and his gaze unwavering.
Sir, reporting for duty.
The old general's heart swelled with pride as he looked upon the next generation, ready to carry on the torch of leadership. With a nod, he returned the salute, knowing that the legacy of his command would live on through them, immortalized in the courage and determination of those who followed in their footsteps. The tank just sat there and watched as the old general faded away, the old kit of war, quiet as it watched its one-time commander fade into the ether. It felt akin to the spirit of the once gallant general that led a mighty command of armor and steel. The tank remained stationary, a sentinel amidst the changing tides of time. Its once mighty guns now lay silent, adorned with rust and decay, a stark contrast to the days when they thundered in defense of their comrades. Once it had rolled across beaches and fields, a formidable protector of its charges, but now it stood as a relic of bygone battles. Squirrels scampered across its weathered surface, making homes within its barrel and treads, while birds nested in the nooks and crannies of its armored shell. The tank remained a silent witness, a faded monument to the valor of the men it once shielded. It stood as a reminder to those who came after, a testament to the sacrifices made in the pursuit of peace. Though its engines were silent and its tracks no longer turned, it maintained an eternal vigil, steadfast in its duty to guard against the unseen threats that lingered on the horizon.